Hey guys, it's Skully. I I gotta be really honest for a few minutes. I've always been a pretty futuristic person. Somebody who's always looked forward to the future, worried about the future a lot. Really spent a lot of time thinking about the future. Well, sometimes when I look at the future, things don't seem all that bright. Like sometimes I feel like I look at the future and I'm so full of hope as to, hey, what am I going to be doing in 5 to 10 years from now? What's my life going to be like? What's my job going to be like? How much different are things going to be in the future versus now? And sometimes that's a very exciting thought. And then there are times that I think about it like way into the future and it gives me a lot of anxiety, which is probably a key indicator that maybe I should focus on the here and now more so than the future. But sometimes I can't not think about it because I have times like last night where I just start thinking about 20, 30 years from now, or just maybe even longer down the line than that. Like, I mean, I know I'm not going to live forever. I'm mortal just like anybody else. And I start thinking about what all am I going to leave behind? How are people going to remember me? If I have any possessions left, who am I going to pass them down to? I mean, I don't have kids or anything, so sometimes it's just something that I think about and I just really wonder what's going to happen. And I know deep down in my heart it's probably not anything I have to worry about anytime soon, but sometimes I just have days like today where I just feel like it's just kind of like this cloud over my head and I just can't stop thinking about it. I mean, what kind of impact have I made being here? Have I been a good person? Have I done enough to make the world a better place? And what will the world be like when I'm not around anymore to be in it? If I was a good enough person who did great things, who made a lasting impact on the world, when my legacy is over, who will carry it on for me instead? And it's not that anybody really has to. I mean, once my story is over, it'll be a closed book. The end, no more. And I don't know, that's a very frightening thought sometimes. And I think that part of being human is having that fear, having that knowledge that your life is limited as we speak. And any given day, it could come to an abrupt stop. And that's another thing that's very frightening that I think scares a lot of people, especially as you get older, because as you get older, it's like you start becoming more aware of your own mortality. You don't feel as healthy as you did when you were younger. You don't have as much energy. You don't have as much of a drive to do things. And you just notice the difference. So, that's definitely something that I have noticed as I've gotten older too, is being in my 30s, I know I still have a long way to go before I get to like my 40s, 50s, any of that stuff, but still just noticing how different I feel in my 30s compared to in my 20s is already pretty eye-opening, and it's something I think about sometimes, and it's just, I can't help but get that dreaded thought of, oh my gosh, this is just going to go downhill as I get older. I'm going to keep having less energy, I'm going to keep changing, I'm going to really notice a difference compared to my youth, and I think that's something that really scares me too, because when I was younger, I just never pictured myself getting older. I mean, I pictured myself getting older, but it was just so uncertain. I wasn't actually experiencing it, and there was a time in my life that truthfully I didn't think I would see 21, and here I am at 31, just, looking back at the life I've already lived, how far I've come, thinking, oh my gosh, at one point I didn't think I would get this far, and I did. And honestly, kind of wondering how it happened to some degree. Like, maybe I had a lot more support along the way than I expected. Maybe I just got lucky. I really don't know. But it's just stuff that goes on in my head sometimes, and I don't know. I try not to let my fears in my life get to me. I don't want them to stop me from living my best life and being happy. But the truth is, I have always had a lot of fear with life. I've always had a lot of uncertainty. I want to believe as I've gotten older, I've conquered a lot of the things I was unsure about. But the thing is, I still have a long way to go. I still have things in my life I haven't done yet. And I guess it's just this big question of, how is everything going to play out? Is it going to play out as I expected it to? Is it going to be better than what I expected? Is it going to be worse than what I expected? Will it be about the same? I mean, I know that there are things in my life that actually turned out better than I expected, but then there are things that also turned out different. And sometimes I feel weird knowing that, maybe, like, for example, the career that I wanted when I was younger is different. The end result ended up being different than what I was expecting, but ultimately ended up being for the better because I think that kid me had different ideas of what that was going to look like, what that was going to be like. So, I don't know. It's like, I think that the younger part of me might be a little disappointed that things turned out differently, but I think that the current version of myself is also just grateful that things worked out because I had a lot more bumps in the road along the way as well that I did not expect when I was a child. That sadly, I'm still figuring out now as an adult that this year alone I've had so many bumps in the road, so many things along the way I wasn't expecting to deal with. And on one hand, perhaps it's no surprise, but on the other hand, it's like, it did seem like it kind of just jumped out at me, so to speak. I mean, I don't know, I guess life is just unpredictable and scary, and that's part of living in it. But I know that some of these things going through my mind, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm not the only one that has doubts or fear or even curiosity about the future. But I guess basically what it boils down to is it's okay to have things in the back of your mind, to have concerns, to be unsure. But don't let fear get in the way of what you really want to do with your life, because at the end of the day, you only have one life, and it is limited. And I think there's a lot of things about life that make it beautiful, but the fact that it's limited, I mean, you only have so much you can do with your time. So spend it doing the things that you want to do. You never know when your story may come to an end. You never know what's going to happen next in life, because the thing is, we're never guaranteed tomorrow. And although it's a scary and very depressing thought, it is true. And there is no really doubting that. It's just inevitable. So live your life for you. Live it for the other people in your life as well. But don't be afraid to do the things that you want to do in your life, because you don't want to have a day where you may have regrets that you didn't take more of a risk, more of a chance, that you didn't explore things more. And I just had somebody who told me this recently, because I kind of feel like I live in a little bit of a bubble away from things. And I had a relative who told me, I see so much fear and uncertainty in you. Don't live your life being afraid, being distant. Do things you want to do for you. And don't be afraid to reach out and try new things. And I think that's advice that I definitely want to try, because I've just been living in fear for too long, and life is just too darn short, So I apologize if this video is very random. I've just been kind of having a hard time lately, and I just have a lot on my mind. To be honest, I think I'm just ready for this year to be over, because it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and it's a ride that I want off of at this point. So, till next time, have a great day, guys.